So you all have in front of you the recipe, and hopefully you all tasted it, which a friend of mine, I used to make this all the time, and a friend of mine came over for a visit, and she's like, can I make roasted vegetables? I'm like, absolutely. And it's something that I hadn't made in a really, really long time, but it's so easy. Because we all have that drawer in our refrigerator that collects vegetables, and sometimes our vegetables die in that drawer. And so this is a good recipe to use up your vegetables before they die, and you just throw them out and give them to your friend's chickens or whatever. So, and for those people online, we'll show the recipe at the very end. So this, you can use pretty much any recipe or any vegetable that you have in your refrigerator. I just took what I had, and that's what we're using. So I already have some sweet potato that I chopped up, but I am going to show you how to chop the sweet potato, mainly because sweet potatoes are hard, and you can chop your finger off if you're not careful. So I have a sweet potato here I already peeled. What you want to do is you want to take it, like this, put your knife in between your fingers, push down one hard, and then kind of tap on the top of your knife, like that. Now, if your sweet potato is not that hard, it's not fresh. So, and then every time you cut, you just want to push down from the top. You don't want to have your fingers there when you're pushing down hard, because you don't. You might end up chopping something off you don't want to chop off. And then you just want to cube them. Now, usually I cube things that are harder, a little bit smaller than the things that are not so hard or that don't take as long to cook. So sweet potatoes take approximately as much time as, say, a regular white potato, but they take longer to cook than, say, broccoli. So broccoli, which I already have here, you would want to make sure that the pieces of broccoli are bigger than your sweet potato pieces, because your sweet potatoes can take longer to cook. So the bigger the broccoli is, then the longer it'll take to cook, and then they'll cook about the same time. So I'll put those in there, and then I already have my regular white potatoes cut. Now these, I peeled them mainly because they were potatoes that we grew, and so the skin didn't look so good. But you don't have to peel them. You can just scrub them real good if you use red potatoes. Red potatoes are really good in here, or yellow potatoes are really good too. But whatever you have on hand. Then we did an onion. I didn't have any red onion, but red onion is really nice in this because it just gives another dimension of color into it. And I just did big chunks. You can do smaller if you want. You can do like half moon shape if you want, whatever you want to do. But I found that onion gives it a really nice flavor. If you feel like chopping up some garlic, you can do that. I don't have time for that. So I really didn't have time for this either. That's why I haven't made it in a while. Then we have some cabbage here. We did big chunks. You just put that in, and you notice that the cabbage, is big because the cabbage is going to cook probably approximately the same time as the broccoli. But, anyway, I explained that already. And then we have some cauliflower that we already chopped. I had some helpers here earlier, which was really nice. And then we have one of my favorites, Brussels sprouts. Now, see, some Brussels sprouts are good. Some Brussels sprouts I've tasted, and I'm like we grew some in our garden this summer, and they were really bitter. And I think it's just because either we didn't pick them soon enough or something. But we knew they were good for us, so we still ate them. But those were like maple glazed Brussels sprouts that we made them into, and drizzled maple syrup all over them. But if they're big like this, you want to cut them in half, just because these are going to take a little bit longer to cook than, say, your cauliflower. So I already got those chopped in half. Now, this is our butternut squash, and I use a peeler like this. I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like a lake shaver. But this thing has like these little, serrated teeth on either end, and this thing is lethal. I'm just going to show you, but it'll peel a butternut squash like it's butter, and yeah. And if you accidentally nick yourself, you'll know it. So I want to show you how to cut butternut squash too, because again, it's a harder vegetable, and you want the chunks, because it cooks a little bit, maybe a little bit quicker than the sweet potato, but not as quick as, say, your broccoli or your cauliflower. So that's when you want to have, like, I don't know, in between slices. And honestly, if it's a little hard, my kids have already come up to these bowls already and taken out chunks of sweet potato and run off with them just here to eat them, to hide and eat them raw. So it's not going to hurt you if it's not totally super cooked, super soft. So these are, I don't know, maybe about 1 inch, 3/4 inch, well, maybe 1 inch cubes. But again, with the sweet potatoes and the squash, you want to make sure that if it's hard, that you keep your fingers out of the way, because it hurts if you get yourself. This one's not as hard as it could be, because this was from our garden last year, which is, it's always nice to grow your own stuff and not have to pay crazy amounts that they're wanting for things now. Although you can go to farmers markets and you can get like bushels of squash and potatoes. Like we got some big old 50-pound potatoes over there that is for another event that we're doing in a few weeks, and we got them for like $15 for 50 pounds. So it just it matters where you shop. And that was at a farmer's type market near Ionia area. And our friend picked them up for us, and I'll just mention it because we're on camera. It was Charlene's birthday today, Charlene Wheeler. It was her birthday today. And she even picked up potatoes for us on her birthday. It's very sweet of her. All right, so once you have all your vegetables in your bowl, it always adds up. Now, I've had it to where I've had like just a little bit of bok choy left in the fridge, and I'll chop that up and I'll throw that in there. Or I have like the innards of some celery left over, and I'll chop that up and throw that in there. And if you feel like you want to do like a harvest type thing, you could chop up an apple and throw that in there. You could throw a handful of pecans in there. I mean, this is like one of those recipes that you can pretty much make it however you want, whatever you have on hand. So then we're going to put a little bit of olive oil. Now, if you don't want to do olive oil, if you're trying to avoid oil, you could use a little bit of vegetable broth, and it just kind of gives it moistens everything that you have here so that when you put the seasoning on, the seasoning will stick to your vegetables instead of just falling off on the pan. I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil because my dad is coming over tomorrow, the first time ever coming to my house, so I'm super excited. So I'm making roasted vegetables so I can give it to him tomorrow and serve it. It's going to be great. I'm excited. Okay, so once you get your oil on there, or vegetable broth, you just want to give it a good stir. I tried doing the flip thing with this bowl, where you just kind of go like this. But this is not like my bowl at home. Oh, it's not too bad. No, it is bad. But my bowl at home, I can just do that for many, many minutes. This one's a little big. And I don't get anything anywhere. But this one's not quite the same. All right, so once you have your oil and or vegetable broth, and if you wanted to like half the oil and use half oil and half vegetable broth, you could totally do that. Or if you had like a favorite sauce, like a teriyaki type sauce, or I don't know, my husband would probably want to put like a barbecue sauce on it. Barbecued vegetables, I don't know, it might taste good. But you could put any favorite sauce. You could put like Italian dressing on this if you wanted to. And just squirt it on. It already has the seasonings already in it. It already has, you know, the oil and stuff. Whatever you want, really, whatever you have on hand. You could put some sesame oil in there. Endless. All right, and then what I usually do is I just use seasoned salt. I mean, you can get fancy and you can make a dressing. You can, you know, mix together some like olive oil and some lemon juice, and maybe put some herbs in there, some rosemary and thyme, and you know, some extra cutesy stuff. But I usually just put seasoned salt. And usually, depending on the bowl, I sprinkle across once and back, and then I flip it to where the stuff on the bottom isn't now on the top, and I do it one more time, just like that. Now, did anybody think that was too salty?
No.
Okay. It looked like I put a lot of salt on when I did that, right? That's exactly what I did with that. Because the vegetables are going to soak up all that seasoning on there. So once you get your vegetables, oh, see, now it's not too bad, all in there and all seasoned, then you take your pan. If you wanted to, you could put parchment on your pan, but then you're not going to get like, I don't know, sometimes I like some of the vegetables where they're like little grizzly, where they're like not really burnt, but I don't know, like the cabbage is just a little crunchy. I don't know. I like that. So if you like that, then you'll want to spray your pan instead of putting parchment down. So just a little bit of spray, just enough so it won't stick. Now this is enough for 2 pans, so I'm only going to put half of it on this pan. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that almost everything is touching the pan. Now if you had a little bit more on here, that's not going to hurt it. But those vegetables that aren't touching the pan are not going to get like the roastedness to it. So 2 pans is usually what I do, because usually I start out with a little bit of vegetables and then I end up with a huge bowl like this, and then I have way too many vegetables. So then we just put this in the oven, 425 or 450 for, on here it says for 15 to 20 minutes. Scratch that out. It's more like 30 minutes at least. So I don't know what I was thinking, putting 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I did it higher. But anyway, so that's what you do. And you want to make sure about halfway through or a third of the way through that you just check it. And you want to like scrape the vegetables from the bottom and like flip them so that you're getting roasted on all sides of your vegetable instead of just one side. And then, yeah, you take it out and you want to eat it pretty, I mean, it tastes good left over, but it tastes way better fresh. So, any questions? No. Wow. Either I talked too long or you guys are like, we're done. We ate too much. All right. Well, I'm just going to put the recipe up here so these people can see it. Oh, before that, so not this weekend, but next weekend? Or the 3 weekends? Okay, so the first Sunday of next month, we have a class coming. We have Emily coming to do an Asian cooking class. So if you like Asian food, or you want to learn how to cook Asian food, or you don't like Asian food, but you want to learn how to cook that way, you definitely want to come to this. So we got flyers here for you that you can take, and you can bring a friend with you or invite a friend. But I'm super excited about this because I love Asian food. And even if it's not Asian-y, I still like the vegetables and fresh stuff. Yes?
And she's an amazing cook.
And she's an amazing cook that has not invited me to her house yet. You notice I pointed right into the camera when I said that. Look at the camera. All right, we'll get those handed out. I'm just going to put this here for people to, so then I don't have to post the recipe on there. Oh, no. It's not good for phone calls to come in.
Yeah, don't break. Yeah, that was good.
All right.